Hello and welcome to this episode of WN Stuff. This is part 2, so without further ado, let's jump right back into this reaction of the entire history of Ben 10, illustrated, all 5 parts. And we're going to jump right back in. And 3, 2, 1, go.
His follower, Siphon. Vilgax issues a Conqueror's Challenge, a law galactically enforced that allows the opposer to challenge that planet's greatest hero, with the champion obtaining ownership of the planet upon victory. Vilgax has done this to 10 other worlds, including his own home planet, which has now been renamed Vilgaxia, redeeming his status as a banished criminal to a respected leader.
Vilgax.
With his 10 victories, Vilgax now wields many new powers and
story
weapons.
arc.
To ensure victory, Kevin and Ben attempt to hack the Omnitrix after Azimuth refuses to help Ben after the High Reed War gave Ben a much more arrogant personality. The experiment goes awry, breaking the Omnitrix, releasing some of Ben's aliens into the world, permanently mutating Kevin, who was deemed unworthy. Albedo was accidentally genetically altered, now resembling a warped Ben Tennyson. The two agreed to an alliance to retrieve the Omnitrix from Ben. Albedo would use the Omnitrix to cure himself, and Vilgax to rule the galaxy. Albedo eventually stole an Omnitrix core from Azimuth to complete the Ultimatrix, a device that can turn Albedo into Ben's aliens, and then evolve them into their ultimate form.
Oh no.
The two capture Gwen and Kevin.
I know about some ultimate forms, they're crazy.
Unless Ben hands over the Omnitrix. Ben complies, and Vilgax uses the Omnitrix to power his bioid army, finally achieving his dream of commanding an army of Omnitrix users. Vilgax double-crosses Albedo and keeps the Omnitrix for himself. As Vilgax begins his reign over the galaxy, Ben activates the self-destruct on his Omnitrix via voice command, telling Vilgax that the Omnitrix will destroy itself if he does not give it back to Ben. Vilgax believes Ben is bluffing and lets the Omnitrix explode, destroying it for good. Ben swipes the Ultimatrix from Albedo to once again gain the power to transform into his aliens, but now has the option to go ultimate. During the battle, Vilgax's ship plummets into the ocean, where Vilgax unleashes his true form, only to be defeated by Ben using ultimate swamp fire.
Man, Vilgax should probably learn.
The destruction of the Omnitrix also cures Kevin, as the frequency from their original experiment is what kept Kevin in his mutated state. Armed with new abilities, the trio's journey continues. On Osmos 5, Paradox brings them to the Forge's entrance, where Ben accidentally entangles himself with a chrono-randomization barrier, pulling his 10-year-old self out of the timeline for a team-up of generations. The two Bens, Gwen and Kevin, battle Ultimate Agrigor on the palms of a giant celestial sapient mother. Agrigor plans to absorb its child and obtain omnipotence, as infinite celestial sapients do not have the same drawbacks as their adult selves. Just as he is about to succeed, Kevin sacrifices his sanity and absorbs the powers of Ben's Ultimatrix, creating Ultimate Kevin, and defeats Agrigor by absorbing his powers too. The overwhelming power immediately drives Kevin mad, and the trio is temporarily broken. Paradox takes young Ben back to his own timeline, allowing him to recall these events as a dream, so Ben can faintly remember a future where they were once best friends. Kevin's involuntary betrayal drives a wedge between Ben and Gwen. Gwen continues to support the idea that Kevin has changed, and they should save him no matter what. Ben disagrees, saying Kevin is obviously too far gone, and they should kill him before anyone else gets harmed by him. Meanwhile, Ultimate Kevin hungers for power and attacks many of his old friends and enemies alike, including the Max Force and the Warden that killed his childhood friend who helped him escape. With the help of sometimes enemy Darkstar and Cooper Daniels, a technopath, Ben and Gwen each take their own shot at dealing with Kevin. Gwen tries to get Kevin to see reason, which fails. Ben engages Kevin in battle, as both nearly die at different points. Darkstar and Cooper finalize a device that can cure Kevin, powered by the remains of the Dominus Librium, an ancient energy-conducting artifact believed to be of alien origin. With Kevin cured, the trio reunited, and Max finally healed from his injuries, all seems well in the world. This is until the Forever Knights, continuing their ancient tradition of finding and exploiting alien technology, come across an old seal bearing their symbol that they believe to be a weapons vault. They crack open the vault, but it is too strong to break open entirely, and lets loose a creature that starts wreaking havoc on Bellwood. This gains the attention of the trio, who work with the Knights to track down the creature. When found, the creature leeches onto Gwen, embedding itself into her mind,
No.
temporarily controlling her. The trio free her, leaving Gwen with new memories, revealing the creature to actually be a demon that feeds off of prayers called a Lacubra, a servant of a great being named the Dagon. What they broke was actually a seal that was keeping the beast away.
She got the info,
and now
though.
he is slowly breaking free again. The broken seal also alerts an old man from the senior center known simply as George, who begins to make his way to the seal. Confirming it is broken, his quest to slay the Dagon begins once more. He goes to Area 51 and teleports the entire base onto the side of a mountain and uses it as a place to perform his operations. Meanwhile, the trio is confronted by Paradox and Ultimate Ben, another version of Ben's future. Ben realizes that every time he meets his future self, his future will change, but for now, this future comes with the power to access his transformations while in human form. They arrive to help put an end to Eon, an evil time walker who has been traveling across the multiverse, killing different Ben Tennysons. Although they later find that this is not the case, as he is in fact recruiting them for his own personal reasons. The trio, Ultimate Ben, and Paradox defeat Eon by destroying their universe's version of the Hands of Armageddon, which is said to exist simultaneously in every possible universe.
You're gonna need to take a breath.
Ultimate Ben returns to the future after giving Ben's Ultimatrix new transformations, and Paradox warns Ben to beware a man named Old George.
Oh no.
At this time, Old George hails a meeting at Area 51 with the leaders of each faction of the Forever Knights, who have all had their own run-ins with Ben over the years, and proclaims that the Knights must carry out their true order, exterminating all aliens on the planet. He upgrades the Knights with advanced armor and weaponry, with special vehicles to complement.
Old
The
George,
Purge, as it is officially titled, is kicked off with the death of Pierce Wheels, one of Max's students, prompting the trio to step in. Ben puts an end to the Purge, but later finds that the entire event was a distraction, as George's real quest was to re-obtain the Sword of Ascalon, which is currently still piercing the Dagon's heart in his invisible, teleporting fortress. George was able to calculate where the fortress would
full
appear
circle
next,
from the beginning.
and using his notes, Gwen and the gang follow closely behind. At the fortress, George and the trio are both met by Vilgax, who, as a battle between the Esoterica and the Forever Knights ensues, Vilgax grabs hold of Ascalon and is rejuvenated back to his landform, now powered by the sword. He then hears the voice of the real Dagon, telling him he is aware of his shenanigans, but will actually grant him ultimate power if he becomes his servant, and go back to the seal and finish breaking it to set Dagon free. Vilgax agrees and heads towards the seal, with the trio and Old George chasing him. At the seal, Vilgax fails to fully break it, and is instead sucked into the cracks, leaving Ascalon behind. Old George reunites with Ascalon, and is restored to his youthful strength. Old George says the Dagon is his mission, and the trio agree to back off for now, and see if Old George can handle it on his own. A few weeks later, the trio investigate the Flamekeeper Circle's hideout, but find no one there. They find that they have rallied around the seal with an army of Esoterica to help free Dagon once and for all. The Forever Knights, led by Sir George, stand against the Esoterica, as hundreds upon hundreds of knights in Esoterica break into an all-out war. Conduit Edwards kills Sir George's squire, so Sir George kills Conduit Edwards, with Edwards still proclaiming his loyalty to the Great Dagon with his last dying breath. Ben soon finds and joins George in battle, where they are confronted by Vilgax, who has now been granted demonic power from Dagon to destroy the seal.
Man.
They fight against Vilgax's new form, but appear evenly matched. As the seal cracks even more, Dagon's power is released onto Earth, turning every living being on the planet into Esoterica. Aside from George and the trio, Azimuth. Azimuth is impressed by Ben's growth since becoming more arrogant after the hybrid invasion, and deems Ben worthy of the new, completed Omnitrix. The trio slumps back into the usual hero time charade, until Gwen reveals that she is accepting a scholarship to go to college early, and Kevin is leaving with her, breaking up the Alien Force team. Max sends a freshly graduated Plumber Academy student, Rook Blanco, to be Ben's new partner, and the two slowly begin working out their differences, fighting crime in the
I don't know how I feel about
known
this.
as Undertown, formed from the alien camps that helped rebuild Bellwood back in 2007. They come across a drifting spaceship rumored to be owned by the Contumalia, the creators of the universe, and on board is their Annihilarg, which can both create and destroy universes. In a ragtag fight for the Annihilarg against other foes, the device is accidentally activated, eradicating everyone and everything in the universe except for Ben, who protects himself as Alien X. Finally starting to master his power, Ben uses Alien X to create a new universe to replace his old one, although it is not an exact duplicate, and so far, no one aside from Ben believes this actually happened.
Oh my goodness. That's
After
wild.
5 years, Malware finally continues his pursuit against Azimuth. Kyber is sent to hunt down and capture Ben with his beast, now armed with the DNA of predators of Ben's respective aliens through the completed Omnitrix. Combating species who were naturally born to fight Ben's aliens against a skilled huntsman strengthens the bond between Ben and Rook, becoming true partners.
Good for them.
But even with their teamwork, Malware has successfully upgraded himself enough to launch an attack on Galvan Mark II. They begin by destroying their moon, Galvan B, disabling all of the mechamorphs present. Malware then continues to evolve himself using Galvan Mark II's resources and transforms into a giant. Ben struggles to defeat giant Malware and gets absorbed into him, and has an existential realization with his younger self. This revelation restores Ben's old transformation feedback into his new Omnitrix, and becomes the catalyst that puts an end to Malware once and for all. The adventures of Rook and Ben continue as they save the planet from the incursion invasion, prevent Albedo from permanently stealing the brain of Azimuth, and liberate the Anur system from the evil clutches of Lord
brain
Transil.
seems like it would have been a big issue.
Once more with a warning that the entire multiverse is at stake, as Eon and Vilgax have teamed up and have been time traveling together for years, putting together an army of evil Ben Tennysons for a war. The battle will take place in an alternate universe, where one of the Bens never found the Omnitrix, because the Omnitrix never even existed here. That universe is then targeted by the evil Bens, only for Ben Prime to swoop in and save him. Ben and Paradox fight alongside Ben-23, Gwen-10, and Ben-10K.
Another version of Ben's future that has the power to fuse his transformations together
to protect No Watch Ben from Vilgax and Eon's army. The battle's true purpose was a distraction, allowing Vilgax to activate his Chronosapien time bomb and erase every single universe and timeline from existence. All except for No Watch Ben, who Ben Prime bequeaths his Omnitrix to seconds before being erased himself. Paradox takes this Ben on a journey to restore the timeline, revealing that it was those two that manipulated the events of Ben Prime's timeline for Ben Prime to receive the Omnitrix in the first place. No Watch Ben also helps Paradox collect the good Bens for battle, but is left behind when the war starts again. No Watch Ben re-enters his universe shortly after the time bomb went off, but now has a better understanding of the Omnitrix and the responsibilities of a hero. Using clockwork, he reverses the effects of the time bomb and restores the multiverse.
No Watch Ben returns the Omnitrix to Ben Prime, and the good Bens effortlessly defeat Vilgax together.
Wow.
Back in Ben Prime's dimension, Ben is put on trial by the Celestial Sapiens for illegally recreating his universe as Alien X, which violates the Multiversal Preservation Act. The court eventually rules Ben guilty, but by using the Tetraman Trial of Combat, agrees to fight another Celestial Sapien for his own freedom. It is during this battle that Ben finally gains full control of Alien X, and defeats the Galactic Gladiator, clearing his name. With the entire universe now aware of what Ben has done, Cervantes finally returns after realizing that the dangerous threat known as Ben Tennyson has put the Omnitrix back on. He restores Kevin's childhood memories of being the Rooters' main assassin, prompting Kevin to do the same to everyone else who had lost their memories. A charade of events lead to Ben, Gwen, Argit, Rook, Kevin, Alan, Helen, and Manny, all in the Rooters' headquarters located in the Null Void. Cervantes physically takes control of the Amalgam Kids, but is unable to do so to Kevin, who he instead corrupts by taunting him about Ben ruining his childhood and imprisoning him. Kevin seemingly turns on the team and joins Cervantes. A fight breaks out between them, leaving Kevin permanently scarred on his chin.
Kevin surprises everyone by revealing that ever since his last mutated incident, he has gained control over his powers and was faking insanity the entire time to get close to Cervantes.
To destroy his connection to the other Amalgam Kids, leading to his defeat, demotion, and strands him in the Null Void. The Time War is now set into motion as enemies from the future, Subdora and Exoskull, are tasked with collecting all the pieces of Maltruant scattered across the multiverse to become whole again. Lots of time-traveling events lead to Ben and Rook teaming up with Ben's future son, Kenny, and Skurd, a slime biot that found his way onto Ben's Omnitrix and can form special weapons and tools based on Omnitrix DNA.
Wow.
Their goal is to prevent Maltruant from succeeding, but this journey follows Ben all the way to adulthood. Now 36 years old, Ben is fighting to stop Maltruant from building his own corrupted Annihilarg, and travel back to the beginning of time to remake his universe in his image. As a gift from Paradox and Ben 10K, Ben and Rook use special time cycles to follow Maltruant into a literal race against time. They temporarily knock Maltruant outside of the time vortex, stranding him on Earth in the 1770s. Maltruant sends out a distress signal and is greeted by young Vilgax, who agrees to repair Maltruant's carriage in exchange for the Chronosapien time bomb. Ben and Rook arrive to battle them with George Washington.
There it is.
Vilgax is inspired to dedicate his life to obtaining the Omnitrix, and Maltruant makes his escape back into the vortex. They arrive at the beginning of time to find themselves face to face with a Contumalia ship, and are met by the 3 multiversal gods before them, who take the shape of your heart's desire so you can physically perceive their 5th dimensional forms. Maltruant arrives not long after, and activates his evil Annihilarg. Skurd forms a celestial blade to cut through the Contumalia's chamber, but Ben has no choice but to dive in after the Annihilarg as a last-ditch effort to save the universe.
Hope prevails, and using the power of all of his transformations, Ben contains the Big Bang and fires it into Maltruant, scattering his body into pieces for Ben and Paradox to hide across the multiverse, with Maltruant
to guide you through Ben Prime's legacy as a testament to my passionate belief that Ben 10 has many more stories to tell. And I invite you to check out my own rendition of the series called 5 Years Later. 5YL is a crossover continuation of Ben 10, written and illustrated by myself, with additional artwork, design, and story input from fellow inktank members o.r.ash and Hershey. Like Ben 10, it's gone through its own share of changes over the years, but many fans have agreed that our work was able to help bring back the magic of the original franchise, and I hope that our work can do for you what these shows have done for us. Thanks for watching. You can stay up to date with everything going on my social medias and join the Discord to talk to other passionate fans. You can also get weekly updates on 5 Years Later on Patreon for only $1 a month. And don't forget to check out our second channel where we've been streaming 5 times a week. And as always, keep it fizzy.
Well, that was absolutely incredible. I feel like if you only knew of Ben 10 from a very limited outside perspective, you wouldn't understand how deep the story actually goes. I love stories that are full circle, and that's exactly what Ben 10 is. Kind of like the Omnitrix, you know what I mean? They started where they ended and then gave purpose to a lot of the things that happened earlier in the series, and I have learned an awful lot, and I have some wonderful notes to read back on, but I love that. Did you like that or this or any of this? Leave a like. If you dislike that or any of this, or if you hate me, be sure to leave a dislike. And until next time, I'm surviving. No, I'm just kidding. WN stuff.
I'm gonna rip it out. You made a mistake, it's okay, no name with too much hate. You think you're safe, but wait, just cause I'm nice, hate, oh no, nay, that just ain't the case. Know your place, I am brave, for not digging you into the grave. Regardless of the problems, I'm never gonna stop. Started from the bomb, still